Well, thank you, Mackenro Alexander. I'm excited to have you here. Seeing you on Sisters, ruffling feathers, playing with people's emotions. Is that you in real life?
No.
Because you play too male. You don't look like you're sympathetic about anything on the show.
I'm far from them. I'm far from them. I promise. I'm a sweetheart. I guess I play the role good. I don't know.
And all jokes aside, before we get into this role and everything else, because you have some other things you've been in and just over in, you were actually a football player at first, and I would love to talk about that transition from football to acting and where did that even come from?
Okay, yeah. So from football, I'm from a very small town called Immokalee, Florida, and it means in Seminole. It means my home. Um, I think this year or last year we had a Hall of Fame player inducted in the NFL named Edgerrin James. She's from my small town, and that little small town created NFL players like my twin brother, who now plays for the Miami Dolphins,
Oh
and
wow.
J.C. Jackson. So we got four NFL guys from my hometown under 30.
Dang.
I had a little, yeah. So I had a little stint in the NFL, but I dealt with injury. So I think just being from Florida, it's like a football state, right? They
Yeah.
only teach you football, rap, some other stuff that we can't talk about. Right, it's
He's
Florida,
like, I'm
right? We
not
live in
trying to
Florida,
get
and
it.
you're right, right. I'm from Florida. I'm Caribbean too. I'm Caribbean, so my people are from Haiti, so he's
Yeah.
real close. So they migrated. So I'm first generation, everything. So
Oh wow.
football was just a culture. Miami Hurricanes. The U that was a big influence. Florida State. So just growing up on Trick Daddy and all these rappers, Rick Ross and football, this and that, it became like ingrained in me. So I'm okay, cool. Follow the trail,
Uh-huh.
and I've been really, really good at it. Went to Auburn University, so I was a four-star recruit. Then I transferred and went to Iowa State, but tried out for the league, didn't work out, and it brought me here to acting.
Nice. Have you always been interested in entertainment? Was that something that like you never pursued just because it was like you're in a football state in a football town, so it was just like, well, look, me and my twin brother, we're both athletic, we're both good at it. But was there like this secret thespian in you where you're just like, but I can't tell nobody?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just because like you didn't see like you live in like if you live in like anywhere else like New York or LA, you see big posters, you see theater, you see all the other stuff. But like in Florida, there's none of that,
Yeah.
right? So I always wanted to be an actor, but I wanted to retire first after my first dream was to make it to the NFL. But I've always wanted to. That was the funny thing. It was just hard for me to communicate with people because they're so football going, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll just keep it to myself, and I'll probably talk to the artsy friends, right? Because
On the low low, you was like you wasn't bringing none of the Archie ones around.
right, right, not the rah, not the ones that want to beat on your chest. I'm like, okay, I get it. I come from that world too, but I know how to take myself away from that world, right? So I've always had a balance to myself, which I kind of liked. I never wanted to marry football. I just wanted to be good at it so I can, I was competitive. And I feel like I'm still playing football in this journey.
That's a funny thing. And you won't believe how many ex-football players are veterans in the game that have switched over to acting, but not even football players, track, basketball. One thing about you all is that I love is that football players are, I should say sportsmen, when they get into something else, they don't mind starting over. You guys leave the ego at the door and you put everything on the field or on the stage. So when you do this, when everybody's story is always like, I started all the way over. Didn't care what I had to do. And I think it's because when you're on a new team or when you're playing against another team or when anything in sports, you're new to it. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like you could have played me 10 times over, but every time you meet me on the field, it's like a new day. It's never like, oh, I know I could just beat Mike. I have to watch out. Mike might have gotten better. He might have been looking at how I've been playing. He might have a trick up his sleeve and I'm following suit. So I
Yep.
get to y'all for that. How
Thank
has
you. Thank you.
that really shaped you as an actor with that sports background?
Oh, it's just the discipline, right? For me is my journey was really, really fast because I think I really, really submitted to the craft. I came in there vulnerable, knowing that like, like this is a longevity game. And if you want to, last long in this industry, you got to take care of the art, right? You got to actually be really good at this, not just look a certain way. So for me, went into the classes. I really educated myself. I asked friends. They told me to go to certain classes. But for me, waking up from 5 a.m. in the morning when you don't have a choice, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
You know, and it stayed in me. So when football was done and nobody was on my back, and I still had that in my head to like go to class, be persistent, like push myself every day to be better and better and better. And I've only been acting since 2019.
Yeah.
And just staying in the gym, meditating, and even through the journey of like playing football, I found like acting for me was very therapeutic, and I enjoyed that, and I wanted to bury myself in it. So I think football definitely paved the way a lot. Like I don't regret nothing football did for me because I think I got an edge over people, right? Because it's work ethic. Because with acting, it's like nobody's gonna tell you to get up and go to class, and you know what I'm saying. So for me, it's just like it's for me, it's kind of like it's commission based, right? You have to book a job to get paid, but
Yeah.
it could be degrading too because you might not get paid for a very long time
Yeah.
because you know what I'm saying. You have to book the job, and somebody has to like you, and a production company and a casting director. So for me, it's just like being consistent, even though I didn't see the light. I just kept going, and I'm here now.
Nice. You know what I love that you just said, and the tone of everything is that I'm just gonna have to make my way, I have to do my dues. And I think that goes back to the football, that goes back to sports. You come in when you're the rookie, it don't matter if you were good with your other people, it don't matter if you were good JV, but once you get varsity, it's like, who are you? Show us that you're gonna be here long term. So I think there's that longevity that really is ingrained in you because it's like when you have people who have been doing it for forever, right? These actors who are classically trained, I think there's a lot of ego that's built up because it's one of those things where the proof is in the pudding. But with sports, the proof is only after you win or you lose. It's there's no if and or buts. You know what I mean? It's easy
Yeah,
if you had favor with the director. It's easy if you were the shining star in school. But on the field, one left turn, one wrong turn, one right hit, you're out. So
you're out. Yeah,
you're accepting anything that comes your way. So it's like you're just open to the opportunities that present themselves. And you're also not upset at the opportunities that don't present themselves or that close in your face.
yeah, at all. I was very open.
Nice. When it came to the injury and transitioning, how was that? How did you mentally prepare yourself? Because I hear a lot of stories when it comes to people, when it comes to accidents in sports, and they have like this period where they're like finding themselves, and a lot of people go into depression and drugs and weight gain and liquor, and it's just because they're like, I lost my reality.
Yeah. For me, um, I think after I retired in like 2018, I moved to Atlanta. Heard it was Black Hollywood. I need a job first, right? So I was okay, cool. I need something to invest in myself. Right. My thing for me, my best investment wasn't stocks, wasn't any kind of stock, but myself.
Yeah.
So started investing in myself and I was a personal trainer, helped me pay for my acting class. And I tore my Achilles. It's probably like my fifth injury, significant, real serious injury. And I was like, man, like, it's like, God, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm done playing football and I'm still getting hurt.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm trying to get into acting, but I don't have no leg now. So for me, it was just, I think, being still, being present, especially as Black men in America, we feel like we got to go, especially I feel like there's so weight of us to go get financial money, right? Literacy, right? Because Black men really come into real money late.
Yeah.
If it's not sports or rapping or anything else, right? So for me, it's like it's a whole new thing. It's like I want to be an actor. I want to be a professional actor. I want to get paid for this, but I don't know. I don't got a leg. I'm green at this area, but I just for me had to be still
Yeah.
and let it come to me. And I still went to class, and I feel like for me, that was the best thing to happen to me, just to be still and be present, smell the flowers, and learn about myself. Because art is life, and it imitates life. And be around my family more, work on communicate. Just for me. And I was abstinence for the whole year. Just like, wow, like okay, it's spiritual now.
Yeah.
And it's the crazy thing is ever, right? So soon as I get cleared to walk, not even a month of being cleared, I booked my first TV show.
Nice. Which
So
TV show was that you booked?
it was NBC. It was on NBC. It was called Bluff City Law,
Yeah.
and I was playing a U.S. Marshal,
Nice.
and and it was like I signed with the agency down in Atlanta, maybe not even a month, a couple weeks, and I booked my first TV job. They're like, "What the?" I was like,
I love
the
that.
contract wasn't even signed yet. Like it was just like, and
Wow.
I just like the power of sitting still, right? The power of like really sitting still and like just working on yourself.
Nice. Do you
Yeah.
feel with that being still because God knew that you were because you're so determined, and I'm the same way. We're so determined where we don't even realize that we're just going to keep going. We fake it. We plan out. We do all this stuff, but then it's like, okay, but did you even enjoy today? Do you feel like in that moment you learned how to actually enjoy life and not have this strict routine and this go getter mentality when you're like, it's okay for me to just relax today. I don't need to do anything. Like it's okay for me to enjoy doing nothing. Like to
Mhm.
do nothing, not have a plan today, not go work out, to just really watch reruns and laugh.
Yeah. That it was very beneficial because I didn't understand what I was coming from. Sometimes, the days that when I miss out on a workout, I feel like I had some kind of anxiety. Like, damn, I feel like I'm being lazy. I got FOMO. And I was like, where does this stem from? Right. To go to therapy and, I'm Caribbean, where my people, I'm first generation everything, right? Where
Wow.
they came here for a better life for us. And so it's extremely grateful. Like, they don't speak English. They're beautiful Haitian people who just came to this country to work and they just end up having twins.
Yeah.
Right, right. And right. And my mom and dad, they did agriculture. So pick watermelons, oranges. There was in the fields.
Oh
You
wow.
know what I'm saying? Like they were field workers
Yeah.
making less than 20 bands a year, making less than $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
So for me, I kind of hold that dear to my heart because I saw the upbringing of like hardworking Caribbean folks, right? Who
Yeah.
like damn near swam here in the States to give their kids a better life, right? So for me, just being conscious in that and like and understand where it came from, it's like I gotta get back. I got family depend on me. But sometimes it's like we put so much weight on our shoulders that, like you said, you forget to live life and grow. And it started affecting me because I had no patience.
Yeah.
But when I got the injury, I ain't had no choice but to be patient. It forced me to be patient because a man with no legs ain't got no destination to get to.
Yeah. Nice. Where's that from? Is
Right.
that
So for
is
me,
that
it's just
your
like
quote
it
or
was.
you got it from a book or something? Because that's a good one.
I think it just came from my. I don't
Hey, you
know.
better keep that one. That's gonna be your pickup line. That's gonna be the good one when you tell somebody, be patient, patient real quick. Be patient, because without legs, you ain't got nowhere to go. So sit still with me.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Right. So it was the most beautiful thing, man. I really enjoyed my injury, and it taught me small victories, right? Like making up the bed, getting stuff done on your chart, writing more, journaling, and I was like, okay, I feel better. Like the little things instead of like, oh, I got, you have, when you're ambitious and you kind of get lost in that, and you
Uh-huh.
don't have time to build a life or a family, then you just look up one day like, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Like I got everything that I wanted, but I did. Now I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I want to really enjoy this walk.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
I love that you said, and I always say I love that about everything when I'm talking to you all, but I really do because it's not it's I think it's therapeutic for all of us when we're telling our stories and journeys. And I think
Mhm.
one thing that a lot of people can relate to where you talk about being first generation, and how much pressure that is on first generation, Haitian Americans or Nigerian Americans. It's like there's this pressure because of how much sacrifice that maybe sometimes us as like African Americans where my people are from Texarkana, Texas, Kansas City, Kansas, we don't walk around with that same type of like on our weight. We just be like, hey, what's up? How y'all doing? So I think you have a voice that speaks to first generation black immigrants a lot, with their people.
Mhm.
And so, with that being said, what do you think is something that really differs it culturally wise? You know what I mean? Because you had a thing about structure, about this, about that, and we always have that type of conversation within the community. But as someone who's first generation of everything, what made you feel that there was this intense pressure to be successful and not let your parents down?
Okay, so for me is like my people. are like, if you're looking at Haiti right now, right? Haiti's in a crisis where there's no gas in this country, right? Nothing is been not a good, not running sufficiently for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I say this: my mom and dad, right, never went to school. They was taught to work, 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 work. My mom just decided one day to, up and leave for a better life out here. To the point where like they never really had an education to like read or write. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, that kind of bothered me to see like my own father didn't really like know how to like write his name.
Yeah.
But it wasn't his fault. You know what I'm saying? Because because to him, I always saw my dad at 5 a.m. just literally just working, going on the bus with the Mexicans and going to the fields and go pick. So to me, that's modern day slavery,
Yeah.
right? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, cool. What's your dad do? I asked the kid, what your dad do? Oh, my dad, he works somewhere else in the office. He does this and that. Everybody, parents is doing something else, right? To the point where as a kid, like at 12 years old, me and my twin brother literally would go to the fields with them in the summer and help them to pay bills. So I was literally couldn't. So I had to grow up fast reading.
Yeah.
If the government mails came in, right, and I was like maybe like less than 12 years old, and when you can read, but you can't comprehend certain stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to read certain. I was like, oh, I don't know. They'd be like, what do you mean you don't know? You go to school for this, and it's like, but
You're like,
I
I'm
I
still
can
10.
understand where they go. I can tell you, but I don't know how to. I don't know about
Yeah.
taxes. I don't know about other stuff. So for me, it's just like I had to grow up fast, right? Which is
Yeah.
kind of it put pressures on young boys like that. You got to grow up really fast because they come to you for help. It's not their fault because it's them. This is a foreign country. I was born in this country, so so there's always which still kind of not healthy because you're putting pressure on the
Mm-hmm.
kid and stuff like that. So that, for me, like understanding like I'm growing up super fast,
Yeah.
like you know what I'm saying, and I'm in a place where not Haitian, but I'm not Haitian enough to be Haitian because I'm in America, right, where I'm not going to Haiti all the time and speaking like the because I can speak it, but not to the point where I can have a full conversation. But I'm
Yeah.
not black enough to be black because I don't have that black experience culture because I don't because in our family, like in our culture, is like beans and rice and chicken for 3 times a day. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have breakfast. We don't have certain holidays we don't celebrate. So, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just like, it was just a whole disconnect growing up for me.
Nice.
Like, being like, wow, like I'm a black man, but it's like I'm getting pulled by so many cultures and me, growing in myself as a person that I am today is like a whole lot of learning. But
Nice.
I had to grow up super fast.
No, I like that because it's very intimate and it's very transparent. There are other
Yeah,
black men or other, men of the I probably should say the Africa diaspora. That makes more
yeah,
sense than saying the
yeah,
black
yeah, yeah,
men.
for sure.
And I think it's really something that we don't even talk about enough because we
Yeah.
think just because you look like us and just because we have the same, and then because you can eat the same, you can enjoy the same food, but it's like once we get down to further conversations, you're like, wait, he really don't culturally, historically, and even socially, he probably can relate to us 10%. That 90%.
Mhm.
And then it's like, and it's funny because I want to talk about that duality because it's like you don't fit in there, you don't fit in here. So where did you find your place to just fit in America as this man of African descent? That's just like, I mean,
I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's
yeah,
it's gonna be so. Growing up is like we were so poor. We lived in a trailer, right? No TV, no cable. So I'd go to school and I would hear SpongeBob, Rocket Power, so shows at a time, like the all the hit shows, right? Hey Arnold, all the right. But we couldn't get it right. So for me, I would like pass by certain windows and like see like TV. Like, okay, this is what they talking about. This is what SpongeBob look like. This is what the Cowardly Dog looks like, right? Like, so I can kind of keep up at home, like keep up at school and have conversations with kids because I was so left out. One
nice.
being Caribbean and being poor, right? And
Mhm.
and then my auntie would take us in the weekends because my mom would go yard sale and stuff like that. That was our shopping
Yeah.
yard sale. You know what I'm
Yard
saying?
sale.
That was our shopping. Yeah, yard
Wow.
sale was our shopping. So for me, I was like, okay, cool. And just watching TV, seeing black men on TV, like seeing like guys, like I would say guys like Wesley Snipes, that was my color, and I was like, wow, because for me it's like I wasn't around on TV a lot, but when I was around, I saw black prominent men on TV.
Yeah.
I was like, you got me.
Yeah.
And that's the power of like representation, right? It's like seeing people who look like you in kind of badass roles and
Hmm.
like superhero like roles and like it's like wow, this is crazy. And it kind of meant a lot to me, and I kind of cherish that, and then seeing like my dad, how he carried himself as a black man, and I was like, this is starting to resonate, and kind of, and then obviously, me coming into my own and playing sports and being impacted by that, and that the confidence come by winning, right, and then then being obviously like being around hardworking Haitians and hardworking football teams, just like
Yeah.
for me, it's like all I know is work.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of created me to do what I want, but a sense of vulnerability because I see where my people came from.
Yeah.
So I had a nice balance to me.
Nice. And with all of that being said, I don't know you personally, but when you're so, intent and you're so driven because of everything you've been through, a lot of people probably misread a lot of you and your like body language or different things because you probably have a certain way that when you come from like saying a trailer park and the only time you could watch TV, that literally sounds like a TV show, right? That sounds like a thing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
us can't understand. So you're that person where it's like, I have to go get it. I have to, where, you might
yeah,
not let everybody into your life. You might be this, and people be like, oh, what's up? And you're like, I've really, when they say started from the bottom, now we here, and you probably like,
yeah,
yeah, I ain't going back there.
yeah, yeah. It was like that for me. It's like I would say I was a little hard. You know what I'm saying? And I learned I like everything that's hard and breaks.
Mhm.
And that's for me where I was like, okay, like how hard can I be? Because at the end of the day, like growing up, I was still breaking as as in my teens because this life is growing up as a black person. It's like and dealing with like being recruited so highly, right? That's scary.
Mhm.
Um, because I can't talk that to my Caribbean parents because we already surpassed them. Sadly,
Yeah.
we already surpassed them by going to third grade. But that's my reality. That's not everybody's reality, but that's my reality going on, right? So understanding that, right? So, and the thing is, like for us, is like I'll share something very personal, right? Um, like if you look at my mother, she has scars on her face. She was shot. You know what I'm saying? So that's my reality. I was born out of trauma. You know what I'm saying? By her, she was shot by her first husband,
Wow.
but she had a son by him that became my older brother, who he's like that kind of birthed my career because I stayed on his couch.
Yeah.
But growing up, I got bullied so much because how my mom looked that intensely trauma made me not even want to meet him.
Wow.
But kind of he birthed my career because when I moved to Atlanta, he's like, I got a couch for you, you got to, we here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So for me,
definitely.
I feel like I've always like could always see what's going on, but I could always feel it. I
Yeah.
always wear my emotions on my sleeve, but I didn't know what's coming from. But like I said, comprehension, right? Emotional intelligence, and you're just growing up to your manhood. It's like, oh, this is all making sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, so for me, it's just like my mom dealing with what she had to deal with, and then seeing my dad, who looks like me with colored eyes, give hella props to him.
Yeah.
She I would say this, like growing up, it's not normal to see a kid and your mom's having false teeth, putting her, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, that's something your grandparents would do maybe when they're in their 80s. You know what I'm saying? Or she has half a tongue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my reality. That's me and my family reality. And being poor on top of that. And seeing her kick ass in life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
for me, it's just like, oh, I owe this black woman everything I got. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Definitely. No, no, I love that. I love that. I'll say the same thing. My mom passed when I was 14 of pancreatic cancer, and she was my world. So I definitely understand. I say everything I own, like, even my first tattoo was of her on my arm and everything, then built it up to the tree of life and everything. Like even my wedding date, our anniversary is on her birthday. So I definitely understand that whole thing like speaks to my heart. And to switch gears before we have a little bit of time left. Now I got to know you. I got all of that, right? Which is
yeah,
great. Speaking of you as an actor, you just started and you already are making a way for yourself, right? How have you been able to create your own path? not just in your own path of like, oh, I'm getting jobs, but also where people recognize you. People love to hate your character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
People want to
yeah,
see more of you. People may be in love with you. You know what I mean? There's all these things. And,
yeah.
how have you been able to pull that magic trick?
Oh man, I would say I love it. I feel like I was meant to do this. Like it feels so natural. And the more I'm in this business, and the more I meet fans and people who love me or hate me or my character, it makes me feel good because I'm doing my job. And and I play a specific role too, where like, I don't feel like certain people would be comfortable playing this role, right? But for me, it's like I'm an artist and I get paid for it. And when I read the script, it was so complex and it was so, what I'm saying, because I'm
Yeah.
so far from it. But like even like right now, this month is mental health month, right, for men,
Yeah.
right? Especially black men, right? We we keep a lot of things in, right? And me playing this role and like getting DMs from certain people and messages like, "Hey, you saved my life. I'm struggling with my sexuality." But seeing your character and putting this to life and being a dark skinned man, what I'm saying, I'll play typically something else, and you can go ahead and go kill it. Like, you say my. I'm like that for me is like that's my job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's just a story that I'm just telling to the people, and I want to always do my best job doing the stories for our people because I think that's important to see. Because when I saw Wesley Snipes or guys that look like me, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
resonated with me, right? So if I can have a script that's that touch on a touchy subject and I can do my job, I'm good. I'm
No,
good.
I love that about the character you play, especially on Sisters, and I think it's so important what you said because when you see his development, right? And I think that's one thing when you see a show like this where you can still get if you're a recurring or guest, you can still find the nuances. So when you look at yours, when he's doing all this, but then also that time he does try to be vulnerable, I think it's so impactful. The moment he does, no one believes him. It's a lie. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I may have done all these things, but I'm trying to be vulnerable right now. And I think it shows that type of complexity with Black men because it's like the moment we try to be vulnerable, it's the moment it's like, well, is this a lie or it's a trick? But it's like, but our white counterparts, you believe them. Our gender counterparts, you believe them. But when it comes to Black men, it's like, I don't know, you might be tricking me. It's like, I literally, and it's like so that's what I think is really gracious about it. And you do see yourself doing like these mental hurdles and whatnot because it's like going back and forth, which is kind of what just happens with trauma. And I think that's where it can relate because it's like this trauma leads to more trauma, leads to spread trauma, leads almost
Yeah.
like
Yeah, for me, I think like Q is like a brother who's hurting and he just needs help, but he's bleeding. He's bleeding on everything that he likes. He's literally bleeding and drowning them with his trauma, you know. Um, and I think you will see it in down the line where like probably people will understand Q, but like definitely something happened to him where he's hurting people, but he does care about Maurice. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah,
just doesn't know how to go about it because like you said, the moment he opens up it's shut down or it's questioned, and at the end of the day it's like there's so much. Once everybody in the world doesn't believe you, you play to it, you
yeah.
play to it, you
And he
play
said
to
it
it.
in there. And you know what to and which I want to make sure I said before I forgot was that one thing is it shows also too where you can be so over sexualized by other people where they don't even care. It's like, and I see that, yeah, we give it Maurice is a sweetheart and everything, but it's also where you have the warning signs. You think this guy is gay for pay. You're thinking it's everybody's told you. You even have the inkling. He's never really said anything, but then when it comes and it's just like, okay, I think you tie on trauma on type of hypersexualization of the Black man. Then you have like, do we have somebody who doesn't really represent what people love to see in the media? A traumatized, hypersexualized Black man. I mean, that's what sells for these people. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah,
you didn't really want to get to know Q in the beginning, did you? Like, besides his
yeah.
body, did you really want to know if he liked his croissants plain or chocolate?
Right. And I would definitely have to agree with the trauma and the over sexualized. I think that just plays a huge hand. That just goes like peanut butter and jelly for sure. Um, I think that just always been something that like the media have always used, right? Is that goes together with especially with hip hop and rap, like So that's what the black man, especially the prototypical black man that they try to use on the screen, use a certain message. But yeah, that definitely plays a huge impact in that. Yeah. So I'm glad, like, because I didn't know what my career was gonna go, but like I'm loving it, and the roles I take is just so challenging, and I know every like road that I'm gonna take is gonna be so different, and I can't wait to show my range and just shock people because at the end of the day, it's like I want us to spread our wings and be like, yeah, we can play this role. We can be doctors, we can be vets, we can so many things that we can touch, like because I think we are the culture,
Yeah.
respectfully.
Yeah. Well, I like that. Respectfully. Sorry, not sorry. Oh man, this has been great. I have one more question because I want to be conscious of our time. And what else is there for you that you want to see? You started early, 2019, it's 2022, making some good headway, but where do you hope to see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years if you had a perfectly laid out plan? That happened. You can have a perfectly laid out plan. Now I don't know if everybody on that plan is going to open the door.
Right. Right. You say your plan out loud, the God gonna laugh, right?
Right.
Um, in 5 years I hope to be in theaters. That's big for me. To be a lead somewhere or to be in theaters and maybe have about 2 or 3 movies out. Just to keep doing projects that resonate, that are eye opening and teaching. Especially, I think movies are very powerful, especially like in our community, right? We don't have readers.
Yeah.
Some people who do love to read, some people that don't. They're just like, all right, I like YouTube. I'm a visual learner, right? Throwing out little stuff here and there, especially about more Caribbean Americans on TV. I would like to see that more, or the African diaspora a little bit more, because it's so much to learn, right? That's why we have like movies like Black Panther and other stuff that comes out. We're so excited to see, we celebrate because we love to celebrate us, right? So for me, it's like to get that out there even more, to spread out, like educate us. Like there's just more. There's so many of us that are Black that we have to learn about the food, the culture, the dancing, and I appreciate that. Just seeing all cultures of Black, and I enjoy the teaching.
Nice. Well, I love to hear that, and I want to thank you for your time. I had a good time, and I always want to make sure the other person's had a good time as well too.
I had a good time, great time.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.